Mm. Yeah. Mm. Yeah.
Hey, beautiful people, and welcome to the Beauty Hustle podcast, where we educate and elevate in the beauty industry, but also have a real and raw conversation. I'm your host, Beauty the Bright Boss, and today, y'all, we have a very special guest in the building, one of my sisters in Christ, Miss Lisa Love. How are you?
Hi everyone. How are you? I am doing well.
Y'all, so Miss Lisa, y'all, she is the queen of the locks.
Once again for the girls them and them friends and I don't know say I got
Yeah.
Stacey and Shelly ever love her 30 and Delhi. Young bro them say them a local, them global, which is right as it should be. Voices of discrimination. Get how you say
And I said my, don't even call over the way she I know you like it, don't try to fight it. You tryna hide it, ooh girl, don't deny it. Yeah, it's a vibe thing, you like the vibes, yeah, it's a vibe thing, you like the vibes, yeah. I know you like it, don't try to fight it. You tryna hide it, ooh girl, don't deny it.
Here in Dallas. And let me tell you how this is kind of a full circle moment, because I had reached out to Miss Lisa back before I moved to Dallas back in 2019. I didn't know her. I was just on Instagram looking up local like locticians and people that did braids in the Dallas area, like trying to find a salon home. And I had reached out to her. I don't know if you responded or not. I don't know. I'm not sure. Probably not. But it
I
don't
probably
matter.
did.
But fast forward, me and Lisa go to the same church. And then when I asked her to do my podcast and I DM'd her again on Instagram, she said, oh my gosh, we already connected years prior and didn't even know it. We in the same church house and didn't even know.
Look at God. Look at God.
So, Miss Lisa, let's tell the folks how you started in the game. When did you find your gift and how did you start?
Okay. So again, my name is Lisa Love. I am the owner of LoveWrapz. My business has been established since 2018. Initially, I started my business. I was fired from my corporate job, right? So that just kind of put the fire under me to really do something different. My whole philosophy at that time was I wanted to do something that I love to do. After that, like I just could not work for anyone else where I'm stressed out. I'm depressed. I have anxiety. In addition to the fact that I am a very hard worker.
You are.
And I saw myself spending a lot of time and energy in other people's businesses. Not to mention, I do have a entrepreneur spirit where entrepreneurship has been taught to me since I was 6 years old, right? Because my mother is also an entrepreneur. So that was just something that she always told me that we need to try to position ourselves to be entrepreneurs, own our own business. Although I did go to college for marketing and business management, I didn't complete it because I did discover in that process that the things that I was learning at that time, it was soon to be outdated by the time that I graduated.
Yeah.
So, for example, when I went to college, Black Planet and MySpace was a thing, right? And so if you know, you know, right? But as I was going through college, it became Facebook, and then, you know, so I started to see marketing, you know, evolve. So I'm like, okay, do I really need to go to college for marketing? In addition to the fact that I was also working in the industry as well, right? So at that time, I was working in media where I was working with different artists as a PR, artist development. So I was already operating in that space.
Right.
And like I said, I am a hard worker, so therefore I was able to create opportunities for myself. So fast forward, here I am working for corporate America, and again, like I said, I got fired. So initially, I started my business through head wraps. Okay, so I started it first by interesting story. So I started my hair wrap business in front of a barbershop where I would set up my hair wraps in front of the store, and then That was 2019 when that started. But then the pandemic hit, right? And so at that point, that's when, there were no salon services. So my head wraps actually started to be a demand because people were not getting their hair done, right? Yeah, so I started my business in front of a barbershop at a 6-foot table. And so one day the owner asked me to get an actual boot. And at first I was like, what am I going to do with the boot? Right. And I sell hair wraps. Yeah. But then also I also did demonstrations. So it did make sense for me to actually have a chair. Right. So in that process, every day, people are asking me about my hair wraps and I'm showing them how to tie them. And so that's kind of how that evolved. So now here I am at a barbershop, sitting or having a booth, an open floor barbershop, and I have a booth. And so one of the barbers there, I don't know how we really got on this topic, but he asked me to do his hair. And this was a good and bad situation, right? Because I will say, and I have to shout him out, his name is Slim Gutter. But so he asked me to do his hair, and since then, every week he would ask me to do his hair. Yeah. So now people are coming into the barbershop, seeing me actually do the hair. So he allowed me to get the reps in every week to, start doing hair. I did different styles, just different things on him. And because I was displaying my services, other people wanted me to do it. He would refer people. And initially, the first 3 months, I was doing hair for free, right? Honestly, because at that point, I really didn't know what I was doing.
So you never did hair before that?
No. I'm sorry. Locks. I never did locks before that. I went to cosmetology school when I was in high school, but as it pertains to locks, I didn't do locks before that moment, right? Okay. In addition to me getting locks, right? So the love and the interest of studying locks came when I actually got my locks, right? Because it's one thing to know how to retwist hair, right? But it's another thing to learn the history of locks, how to maintain the healthiness of locks, all the things, right? Yeah. And just being a person with locks, you understand the challenges of locks. You understand, what we look for, what we need, how it should feel, right? Yeah. So I basically became a product of my own product and service, right? Yeah. So again, like I said, it was a great thing, for me to have that opportunity with him because he was, very known in the city or whatever. So, of course, he's referring people, talking me up. So my clientele started building really fast at that point. But I knew one thing that I had, one of the things the shop owner taught me was to always get your reps in, always, be doing it, just so you can get faster, you can get better, all the things, right? So I went from doing his hair to all of their children's hair to, friends' hair, that type of thing. So my clientele, build rapidly. Yeah. So now I'm in a position to where clients are building. Again, the demand for hair wraps is building. So now I have 2 sources of income happening at the same time. Yeah. So I was able to get to the 6-figure point within 2 years of just being in business.
That's amazing.
So that's kind of how I started. And so from this the open floor the open floor shop. I'm going to say it twice. From the open floor shop, I then got my own suite. Or in that particular salon, I had the biggest suite. So I had a full head wrap suite at that time. So now I become Lisa LoveWrapz, the loctician and head wrap stylist.
I love that.
Yes, ma'am.
So let's talk about let's go back to the corporate job. When you got fired, what was your thought process? Because at that point, you're not knowing, what am I finna do? What is the plan?
Absolutely.
So what was the timeline from being fired to you getting into the wraps? And what inspired you to get into the wraps?
Great question. So literally I got fired July of 2028. I did my LLC September 2028. And then from there, me rolling out a LoveWrapz business or the LoveWrapz business stemmed from me already knowing I wanted to do something, but the question was, what was that something, right? Yeah. I knew coming from the retail industry that I was good at, selling products, having my own retail store, owning my own business. So I knew that I was capable of doing it. I just had to have a product or some type of retail experience, or retail situation to where I can have a product. So when it came to selecting a product, I chose something that I was already a product of, right? So wearing hair wraps was already my style, my thing that I did, right? So I knew that I didn't want to sell hair. I didn't want to do nails, makeup. That wasn't really my thing. But I knew hair wraps was. So I just kind of took it from there. Plus, I noticed that people were asking me, well, where do you get your hair wraps from? And one thing someone always told me, if someone always comes to you and asking you about a certain thing, that probably needs to be your thing.
Yep. Yes.
Right. So I kind of took that in. And so honestly, I was, again, a product of my product. And then after a while, so as I'm doing my market research, right, I'm seeing who else is in the market, who's also, thriving in this space, and just all things research, right? I did stumble upon research pertaining to head garments, head wraps, which are called in in the 18th centuries, there was something that was called Tinyon law, right? Which at that time, there were slave owners who wanted slaves to wear head wraps to just kind of take away from their beauty, right?
Wow.
So that they can identify with them being slaves, and so that they didn't appear to be all, beautiful and all the things, right? However, us being creative Black people, right,
Period.
took those head wraps and started decorating them, putting jewelry on them and all the things to make them look appealing. Right? So I took that concept and I said, you know what, that's good. So I wanted to create something that was more about being bold, being confident, showing off your natural beauty, right? So my head wraps my hair wraps reflect that. Right, they're vibrant. The material. It's all the things, right? And everyone loves them for that reason. And so that's kind of how that kind of unfolded. Me doing head wraps from that space. So.
Speaking, while you're talking, I'm literally thinking about, because I'm very into African American history. And when I learn about the different like African tribes and stuff like that, their head wraps.
Correct.
All of them are very unique. They're very distinctive. And to think that that's where that came from.
Absolutely.
From slavery, like... That's amazing. Like literally, like they always try to do something to us as Black people to diminish us, but we quickly turn it around.
Absolutely.
And turn it into something positive and beautiful. Like y'all can't keep us down.
Cannot.
Y'all can't. Okay.
Today's Hustle Spotlight goes to LoveWrapz, the only diverse wrap that you can wear on your body or your head. It's giving cute, it's giving fab, it's giving luxurious. Head over to LoveWrapz.com to purchase yours today. And if you want your product or item highlighted on an episode of the Beauty Hustle podcast, email us or text us today. All products and items are welcome. Now, let's get back into the episode.
So how do you educate your clients about the cultural significance of the head wrap? Like, do you educate them while they're in your chair, while you're locking their hair, while you're actually wrapping the wraps and giving them tutorials on how to wear them properly?
Okay, so if we're talking head wraps, yes, I do demonstrations, I do workshops, and typically when I do pop-ups, that's when they really get the full experience of different hair wraps. Now, I do say that so with the hair wraps, it is your own unique style. So there's no one go-to style that you necessarily have to have. For me, it's just about providing you with the types of hair wraps that speak to you.
Right.
I think with also going back to one of your other questions, what sets me apart from my competition would probably be the fact that my wraps are versatile. So I have different varieties of wraps where you may have someone who has a business that only has, African prints or hijabs, different cultures. There we go. Different cultures wear different wraps for different reasons. So therefore, that's why I have a variety of different types of wraps.
Just a sidebar question. How much time did you put into researching all of this?
Oh, that's a good question. So for me, I love doing research in general.
Oh, we know that. Y'all, she's always in her phone. Look, let me research that. Let me research that.
Man, so for me, it wasn't that difficult because I kind of knew where to go for the information. But I was so intrigued by the information, I just kept digging. And naturally, in my other businesses, because I do marketing researches for other businesses, just doing or looking for the things that I know I needed to know, it was kind of easy for me. Because again, like you said, when you're building a business plan, you do want to know your competitors and things of that nature. So I kind of knew where to go. Now, the thing is, what I discovered is not a lot of businesses are properly registered to even give that information.
Yeah.
So I knew that I was in a lane by myself. So just to confirm, yes, I do have the only, and I can strongly say this, not to be cocky, but do your research. I have the only head wrap business that has the variety that I have.
You do.
Right? I've sold over, okay, put it like this. I've shipped out to over 8,000 orders as it pertains to my hair wraps. I've serviced so many different people. And to be honest with you, I'm saying these numbers only because I actually looked them up today. I didn't really know how much business I did from that perspective, you know, until me just kind of looking up those numbers today or whatever. So I am blessed to see that I have excelled in this area. It is a niche market. That was also my goal, because I wanted to create something that was a challenge, but more importantly, so that I can be an example to people who are starting out businesses, to show them that it really doesn't matter what you sell, is really how, or what type of business you have, is how you develop your business. Because who would have guessed, who would have known that I could literally make 6 figures selling head wraps? And if you really want to break it down, who would have known I would have made 6 figures selling scarves or material?
Basically, yeah.
You know, if you really want to break it down, right? So, but it wasn't the product so much. It was me seeing a problem, solving it, and me bringing value to that, right?
part, yeah.
Making it, you know, and I did make it trendy and popular. I do have a lot of, if you go on YouTube, you'll see my YouTube videos. Like I said, a lot of my events, when I did pop-ups, you know, they were very interactive. You know, you'll see like long lines of people just waiting, you know, watching all the things, right? And I made it something fun, and I was consistent. And that's the biggest thing. I was serious about my brand. I understood that it was something new to people, and I had to show them what my brand was about, right? So a lot of my brand was about educating them on the product, and that is something that you have to implement in your business.
And one thing that I got from you is an experience with your head wraps. You're not just taking a picture. You could just take a picture of it, you know, lay on a desk, take a picture of it, and sell it the best way you can. She's selling an experience and educating, which is what's bringing the people in. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, it's just material.
Yeah.
Anybody can take a picture of a piece of material and sell it, but it's the how. You know what I'm saying? She's putting, you can I can feel your passion, you know, within it, which is, I want to buy some now.
And so to your point with the experience and what that looks like, so we do, I can say we've done quarterly photo shoots. And so what that looks like is a full experience where we do a group shoot. People can come out. It's a party. We have music. We have food. We have different photographers. We have music, we have food, we have different photographers that come out, and we do a LoveWrapz photo shoot. So if you are a person who's into hair wraps, or you just kind of want to see what you look like on different levels in hair wraps, we provide that as well. I do personal photo shoots if you just want to do a photo shoot for yourself, a birthday, bridal shoot, whatever. You know, if you want to incorporate wraps in anything that you do as it pertains to, you know, doing a photo shoot, that's what we also offer. And like I said, workshops as well, so all the things.
So what advice would you give to an entrepreneur that's trying to create a brand in the beauty industry?
The first thing I would always say is do what you love to do. Because it's not always that you're going to make money every day. You're not. True. There's going to be times, weeks, months maybe, that you don't make $1, right? But you still have to put in that same amount of effort. First of all, you have to understand as a small business, you are still a business, meaning you still have the same operating department as big businesses. Yeah. So that's your finance department, your customer service department, your stock, your operation, your supply department, all the areas, right? And so even if it's just you have to understand that you have to operate all of those areas, right, in order for your business to function. So it's just kind of knowing that and understanding that it's not an easy task, but can it be done? Absolutely, with the proper time management, systems and processes, they definitely can be accomplished. But just kind of knowing that as an entrepreneur, number one, like I said, do what you enjoy doing, because you're going to have to do it consistently, right? And just understanding all these things still need to happen. So it's either you doing it or you hiring someone to do it. But if you're in a situation that you can't hire, understand that all these things still need to get done.
And exactly how do you balance running a service-based business and a product business? Because that's a lot when you are all of the things, like you said, marketing, social media, shipping, packaging, and still behind the chair. How do you do it all? How?
Great question. It is not easy, I will say. But again, like I said, time management, systems, and processes is a must. For me, yes, I have a product-based business, but not only do I have a product-based business, I am online, in-store, and pop-ups, right? So that's actually 3 different platforms that I sell my product on. So it's about managing inventory for all 3, in addition to being a service provider, right? So yes, again, for me, for my online store, I use Shopify, which has a lot of great plugins and things that you can use to manage your back office. And then it also allows you to manage your inventory when you are, if you have it in-store as well. And then if you do pop-up. So it has the components that you need. You just have to properly manage those things. Now I am in a space where I have a team. So I do have people, I'm year 6, by the way. So I do have a team that helps me with that for the most part. But in the beginning, when, sales were low and, the volume was pretty low, I was able to personally manage it myself. But yes, as you grow, the next phase of that is getting you a team. And that is something that I definitely had to learn within the last 2 years, to trust and put your product in the hands of other people, because it's our baby, right?
Yeah.
So we don't want anyone to mess it up. So, we don't want to, put that trust in other people. So we don't do it. But honestly, that's the best thing you can do, is to, position yourself so that you're not the one always physically doing the work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So because you are to me, your marketing is top tier.
Oh,
It's like everything. Literally, y'all follow her, the name below, because even though I don't do locks. I mean, I can, but I'm not no loctician. Okay, I'm a braider. Watching your stuff makes me want to do locks.
Oh, thank you.
So what marketing strategies would you recommend to those or in the beauty industry, and what have you seen that's the most effective, with your brand?
And so when you ask me questions, I have to speak about both sides of the brand, because there is the service base. So with the service, that is more, like I said, referral based for me. As long as you're doing good service, a person cannot help to see someone's head and be like, oh, who did your hair?
Right.
You have to treat every client like a model.
Yeah.
If it's not picture worthy, it's not good. If you say, I can't take a picture of that, that's not going to sell me, well, then start over.
That part.
Start over. If you are not confident in taking a picture of that work, then it's not good enough. So to that point, like I said, from the service part of it all, I'm more about referrals. I want to, position someone to be able to speak about my product based off of it looking well on them. And as it pertains to the products and services, the products, that is more about collabing, good collabs that make sense.
Right.
I know I've seen a phase of people who were collabing with, other influencers and things just for the sake of collabing, but it didn't make sense to their brand.
It don't.
And it looked like you paid someone to promote your brand, right? And you don't want that type of partnership. You want a real partnership that makes sense and that can be consistent. Because even with partnerships, you have to... partnerships and campaigns, you have to have something that's consistent. Correct. So if you're not in a position to use influencers consistently, then I wouldn't suggest, especially starting out with a small budget, to go that route. However, make it make sense to your brand. And what I did well, as it pertains to me marketing my locks indirectly with marketing my hair wraps, I reached out to people who had locks. And 9 times out of 10, they already had locticians, right? Yeah. So I never went to them as, hey, I want to be your loctician. No. I have hair wraps. I know you have locks. I know you're probably looking for something to protect your hair. I have I have hair wraps. You would discover I also do locks, right? So now it's your choice if you want to switch over. But I would never promote to someone in that way, right? But as it pertains to the collabs, I would collab with people who are already in the lock business. I'm sorry, that already wore hair wraps. People who, had a nice, engagement and influence on social media, and then just kind of do any collabs with them. But yeah, those two things I would definitely recommend. Good collabs that make sense, and then putting yourself in a position that people are always referring you.
So would you say, this is a sidebar, but would you say that with the actual service part, that's not something that you really like or like pushing out there? Like you said, it's more so referral.
So it's tricky, right? Because and there's different ways to do it, and I don't knock any way, whatever works for that person, but it's something about something that doesn't necessarily promote itself, right? Such as like Rolls Royce, the car is Rolls Royce, right?
Yeah.
They don't necessarily promote themselves, but when you see it, when you resonate with it, you then want to be a part of that, right?
Yeah.
So they don't say, hey, come buy me. So I don't necessarily take that approach. And again, there's different ways to market, so I'm not saying my way is the only way.
Yeah.
But I am saying that's just my approach. So you may not always see me say, hey, book now, link in the bio. I don't personally think that that's effective. I think that if I put something out there and if it resonates with you, you'll come see me.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I move.
I love that.
Braid Bosh University is open for enrollment with all braid levels, intermediate and beginner. Check out our 2025 small group classes, and we also offer one-on-one classes. For my advanced braiders who are wanting to get into doing alopecia clients, we do have our advanced alopecia masterclass in May. Email us or text us today to reserve your spot, or head over to eventbrite.com to purchase your ticket today. Now, let's get back into the episode.
So in the lock world, like people would say that it's very competitive. There's a lot of competition. So how do you handle competition in the lock industry, and what makes LoveWrapz unique to where it just stands out from everybody else?
Probably that's probably it. The fact that, and so when I say I'm going to say I don't look at it as competition, not because traditionally yes there is competition, right? But how you view competition, I think, is the thing. So although there is other people that do what I do, yes, there are different elements of what I do that you don't do, right? But in addition to my competition, I don't believe is directly other locticians. If anything, my competition are people who are not in the natural hair space, because globally,
Yes, that is.
you feel me?
Yeah.
Globally, what's that saying is if more people, for instance, went to chemicals and weave, in all honesty, that's taken away from the overall community of natural hair, right?
Yes.
So those are technically my competition, right? Because if people went away, if more people went away from natural hair, then none of us will eat, honestly.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, well, how about let us partner from a loctician to another loctician? How about we partner? How about we create value in our market, right?
Yes.
For more people to come into our market, because although, yes, there is a possibility that a client will go to you, then come to me. Well, the reality is you're not going to always be available, and I'm not going to always be available. But to know that this client has went to another quality loctician because we were all taught quality skill sets matters more to me than me worrying about you taking my business. Because, one, you can't take anything that's for me. Right.
Period.
However, I do understand we can share clients. Right. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. And that's not going to stop, because first of all, we all can't service everyone. Because
Can't.
technically, if you want to break down numbers, we only truly need to be able to balance our business and life. Technically, we only need 100 clients each. If you really want to break down the numbers comfortably,
Yes.
consistently. I'm not talking about the up and down numbers. I'm talking about a consistent flow of customers, and also balancing a lifestyle, balancing a quality lifestyle, as well as a quality cash flow. We probably just need 100 clients. So my point is, you don't have to service everyone. So,
But you can't.
and you can't, right? And you can't. So I don't really necessarily look at it as competition, per se. But I will say, if I can position myself to, educate another loctician or help them out or whatever, I don't see nothing wrong with that.
I love that. It's getting very wise. Sophisticated. So you're very big on community. Like nobody has to even know you personally to know and to see that like you are
Absolutely.
very, maybe she in the streets, but she in the streets in a good way.
100%.
So
100%.
how has being about community and networking, how has that played a role in your business?
I mean, honestly, that has been the reason why my business has flourished, because I am very selfless.
You are.
I strongly believe in community. You cannot do anything without community. I have people on my team who, when I call, they come. You know, I mean, it's just a beautiful feeling to just have a team of people who will really go through a wall for you at any time, you know, you need it or whatever. So I definitely encourage people to, you know, find you your own community. Mainly because, again, you need people to help you operate your business, but just to kind of add to the fact that we are coming in a time where social media is basically should be a part of your business structure, regardless if you want to or not. Content, media, all the things, right? So if you build a team for nothing else, you want people to, you know, again, help you with the operation part of it, but to keep you consistent with your, you know, your marketing and things of that nature. So building you a media team is very important. And so that's something that, you know, my husband and I encourage a lot of businesses to do, to, you know, build you a community of people who see your vision and can help you execute your vision. So it's very important.
If you could give one piece of advice to someone who wants to start a lock care business, what would that be and why?
I would say if you want to start a lock care business, make sure that you are doing it because you really enjoy locks and that you're not doing it for the money. Because your responsibility is to help your clients with their journey, with their locks. And so it's very important that you operate with integrity and that you are educating yourself on hair growth. And that you are educating your clients as well. So I would definitely say make sure that if you get into this business that you're serious about your client and the growth of their hair.
Yeah, I think that, first of all, that's a great piece of advice because that's what I tell people when it comes to braiding. Like, it's a part of a natural hair care journey because that's my niche.
Yeah.
Natural hair before anything.
Correct.
Before I put a braid in, weave, whatever. I need to make sure your hair is top tier and taken care of before anything because these people, they trust you. If they're coming to you, they trust you. And especially nowadays, when people find a good thing, they're trying to stick with it.
Exactly.
with their hair. For one sidebar, what is the difference between a lock and a dread? Can we talk about it because we don't know. Let's educate the folks on what really is the difference.
So I think it's more about terminology. So I think people who do not like the term dreadlocks is because of the word dread. It's because it's saying or suggesting that something is my hair doesn't look right or is unsightful, you know, that type of thing. Whereas if you're asking, is there any difference in I guess the technique? No, it's not. But I think it has a lot to do with just terminology and just respecting the fact that I don't want you to look at my hair as some nasty, you know, unmaintained thing. So don't call it dreadful, you know, dread, right?
Okay.
But that has been a term that has been used, you know, frequently. And in different areas, they don't mind. But in certain areas, they're kind of like, you know, really, you know, touchy about that word, which is understandable if you look at it from that perspective. But the difference between locks and dreads, I mean, as it pertains to how it looks, it's no different. Either you have maintained locks or not maintained locks. Either neat or they're not. They're freeform, traditional. You know, those are the things that you can walk into a lock shop and ask for. I want my locks traditional. I want my locks, you know, I want extensions. But you can't, I mean, to say I want my dreadlocks or I want my locks, you're going to get the same thing.
Okay. Y'all hear that? It's really up to you because, baby, the folks, we don't be knowing. Okay? Locks, dreadlocks, faux locks. They all locks, right? This is a great conversation, Miss Lisa Love.
Thank you.
So, in the next 5 years, where do you see LoveWrapz?
Good question. So right now, what we're working on is more of the educational side of LoveWrapz. So we want to educate other beauty bosses on not only locks, but the lock business, right? Structuring yourself as an actual business, understanding that long-term you should seek having a product and service-based business because you don't want to be behind the chair all your life,
We
right?
don't.
You want to create something that is passive.
Yes.
So the levels of your growth should be you learning the skill set, being able to teach the skill set, providing the tools and product to support your skill set or your service that you have, and well, let me put it the other way around. I'm sorry. It's learning the skill set, providing the products and tools to do the skill set, and then teaching others how to do the skill set. That's what I was trying to say. So yeah, that's how you should formulate your business, in my opinion. So moving forward, what we're working on is a mentoring program where I am teaching young girls how to do locks, learn the lock business, all the things. Also creating mini salons, right, in different salon shops. So what that looks like is LoveWrapz would basically be a franchise where you already have an existing suite. So let's say if you're on my team, basically you have the opportunity to be able to travel to different mini salons that I have, and be able to do services that way. Because I know oftentimes people want to get into the suite space but can't afford to actually pay weekly for the rent, right?
Yeah.
So if you're a part of my team, you are able to pop up at any of my locations that are small private suites and be able to service clients that way with no overhead.
That is.
So you have your products, your chair, your private space, all with no overhead.
That sounds good to me. I wish I knew how. I wish I was a loctician. Shoot, no overhead, girl. Sign me up, because way these booth rents and suite rents is, baby, they up there. This is a great conversation, Miss Lisa. Thank you so much for coming in. Y'all, if you ain't learned nothing today, I have. And make sure y'all like this video. Comment down below some other topics and some other people you would like to see in this chair. And don't forget to subscribe and join our tribe. Until next time, guys. Bye. Bye.